You have to jump into the fray and discover that the light is stronger than the darkness. Well, Father Pedro had been a provincial, and he went back to Mexico as a missionary, where he is a nice old man. I think he's older than Father Chino, probably in his mid-80s or older. But he came back, he was here visiting mission. He had been here as a young priest. His first assignment was mission. And he was here quite a while, I think 8 or 10 years before his next assignment. And he just made this observation then. Now, this was like back in the early 80s. He said that too much prosperity, if you don't reflect on your prosperity, you got out of touch with that life force, that free, invigorating, ennobling force. If you start to focus on the prosperity rather than on the one who's the source of the prosperity. He didn't give me a long talk about it. He said, I'm kind of worried. He said that the nobility he was talking about our parish, really, but he said the nobility of the people can be eroded or degraded or debilitated by too much prosperity. Too much, it could be government money, or it could just be too much of your own success. And they have seen that sometimes. Young people who become very successful and they lose their sense of the spirit. It's a scary thing to see. And Grandma and Grandpa can say, look, you need to go to church. You need to think about God. You need to look at the source of all your intelligence and all your success, all of your talent. The source of all your prosperity is God. You get out of touch with that, you get lost. You become superficial. You become shallow. You become sick. And, well, Father Pedro would say that over 25 years ago. He said, he said, the prosperity now is incredible compared to the way it was back when he was going back to the 50s when he was a young priest. He said, that worries. Too much prosperity can sap the nobility of people if they don't reflect on where the prosperity comes from. Or maybe if it comes too easy, it comes without sacrifice. So when we celebrate our 4th of July, we are proud of our prosperity. We're glad we've got the best air conditioning in town. We've got the best sound system in town. There's one other, I was talking about it, I said, man, I was fixing to start this expansion. I said, one thing that really works is we've got the best air conditioning, the best sound system, the best lighting. I love the way the lighting works in this church. I sure hate to hope we don't mess that up. Too much prosperity. Now we're going to expand and all this stuff. I hope we can get them to leave the good stuff as it is, but that's kind of a side note. But as we celebrate the 4th, we think about where we come from. Think about Mom and Dad, Grandma, Grandpa, great-grandma, Grandpa. You know, when I went to Texas A&M in the 60s, I didn't realize it then, but the people who sent us, Mom and Dad, and Grandma and Grandpa, well, they've been through World War I, the Depression, and World War II. This was the early 60s, 63 when we went on A&M. The men who were teaching us were World War II heroes. We didn't realize that World War II had just finished 18 years before we got there. It was, to them, it was a very recent experience how the light had to fight with the darkness, and how the light had to overcome the darkness. They lived it intimately. We hadn't lived it. They didn't realize it. The president of Texas A&M was Earl Rudd, the hero, General Rudd, who's in heaven now, the hero of Norfolk. He was the president of our school. We shook hands with him. He gave us speeches. We made fun of his speeches. You know that? But not exactly. But he would always say, every time he started speaking, he'd say, I remember the time. He'd say something about Normandy or something. Well, so we'd get ready for the speech. Before he walked up to the podium, one of the guys would say, I remember the time. And then sure enough, General Rudd would say, I remember the time. So there you go. We didn't realize these guys were heroes. They had lived. They had been like those apostles in the gospel. They had gone out believing in the power of the light, the power of truth, and goodness, and beauty. That this is stronger than the forces of evil that seek to degrade and destroy our spirits. This is stronger. Well, they lived it, and they discovered it really is stronger. They had survived and thrived, and they passed it on to us even though we were silly teenagers, 18 years old, freshmen at Texas A&M. We didn't realize what they were passing
So if you agree, have a drink with me, raise your glasses for